Thanks, Jonathan. So today I'm going to be demonstrating a Kofax RPA solution centered around Salesforce as a use case. So imagine you have a Salesforce tenant, and one of your jobs is to go through and add new accounts to that Salesforce. So normally you would maybe pull up a spreadsheet of a couple of new accounts to add. You would manually log in, you'd click on the new button, and you'd cross-reference back to your accounts spreadsheet and just copy and paste those into your new accounts setup, and then you'd make some notation on your spreadsheet, success. But that's very manual, very much a process that could be automated. So today we're going to show how you could do that with Kofax RPA, save a lot of time, and get you back to better work. So I've pulled up a Kofax RPA Design Studio window here, and we'll just step through some of the process. It definitely looks more complicated than it is. We'll break it down step by step and show you how it works. So the main robot that we have, this entity that sort of runs the actions of the automation, we've titled Salesforce Demo Robot. It runs through first sort of the process that you would as a user. It looks up a password from the Kofax RPA Management Console password store. We've got those securely stored up in the cloud, so you're able to access them remotely from the robot. And it will then step into the Salesforce object in the browser. There's a headless browser that's built into the Design Studio. And I'll just step through here. We'll extract the password down. Just to give a little bit of context to this as I point out various elements in the Design Studio. Um, we've got the robot actions up at the top. Over on the right-hand bottom side, we have different variables that are going to be populated. So at the moment, you can see that the Salesforce password has its encrypted value here, but it's pulled down, ready to work with the robot. We'll step into this second level of the robot here just to give a visual. Um, this part of the robot will open up a headless browser in the Design Studio, and you can see that it's accessing the Salesforce login page just as you would as a user. It's going to click in to the appropriate username and password boxes and fill them with the values that we've passed into it. We'll click the login button, and then we'll step out of this part of the robot. And there are various other portions of the robot that will then directly access the browser object. So um, I won't go into great detail on each of those, but just to give a sort of overview of what's happening now, um, we'll open up uh, the Excel variable that has the different accounts to add. It'll open as a tab here in your applications. Step past that, you can see those Excel values are ready to query, and then we'll loop through. Each row uh, is going to be added to the accounts variable. So we've sort of made up our own accounts to add here. We'll extract some relevant pieces of data, the name, the city, state, and employees, and it'll step through each of those and extract them into that variable's values there. And then we'll just create an account in Salesforce. So you can see again, we've stepped into the browser here. We're clicking on the new button just as you would as a user. And really, this is the way that you teach Kofax RPA is basically just doing what you already would be doing as a user. You're just pointing to the various steps that you would take and telling Kofax how to do it itself. So once it clicks this new account button here, there we go, that'll help. Once it clicks that new account button there, it will be ready to input the various pieces of data that we've passed through, the name, city, state, etc. And we'll just step past those. It'll input the values, uh, hit save, and then click back to the accounts page. So click through there. And most of the time, this will all be happening very, very quickly. The only reason that it's taking so long is I'm walking through step by step. But you can run Kofax RPA robots on a schedule. You can run them ad hoc or based on different triggers. They'll run via a cloud account and just run in the background. You don't need to watch them. They can be run unattended as well as attended. So we'll step out of there. And the last piece of information is we write back either a success or failure based on whether the account was created to our Excel sheet. And I'll run through the second loop of that iteration for the Heritage Market account. And this will run much more quickly than, again, my manually stepping through each step to show you. We've got a success there as well. The last piece of the robot is just clearing everything out, closing out Salesforce. Presumably at this point, once you've reached the end of the file, you're finished with the robot execution. So we just step back into Salesforce, close that out, and then we'll just write the results of our Excel sheet, our successes and failures, to a file. I've just written this out to a local Excel file. Um, to be read then at your leisure whenever you have finished your job. And you'll get a file that looks like this. So, that is sort of how this robot runs. I just want to briefly show how simple it is to create a robot or modify one. You may have noticed that we put certain pieces of information, the name, city, state, the number of employees for each account. We didn't do anything with this account number though. So just to illustrate again how easy that is, I'll go ahead and just delete the ones we just created so we don't have an overlap. We'll delete the Texas State Bank one. And then we will step back to the beginning. And we'll take it over to the point at which it has logged into the system. It's opening up the accounts file, um, and we've extracted up to the number of employees here for this first value. Make sure that it gets that. There we go. Um, so past extracting the number of employees, we now want to add a step that extracts that account number. So I will just click into the Excel sheet and click into the cell that we want. And I will right click to see what our options are. And since it knows that this is an Excel value, we'll extract that text into the account to add. account number. Let's see here. Under number, account add account number. We'll confirm the formatting there, hit OK. And then when we step past that, we'll just make sure that the step has been added there and rearrange if needed. And we see that it's now extracting that account number from the Excel file. Now the only thing we need to do to finish this is in the Create Accounts robot. Just step into that. And for the most part, it is just a little bit of cleanup here. For the most part, it is good to go. We will just, at this point, we will add another input from the account number field just to make sure that's in the appropriate place. So we'll visually scroll down here, find the account number field, and again, click it so that the robot focuses on it. Right click to see what options we have, and we will replace the text from the variable, and we'll select the account number. And when we step past that, you'll see that it inputs the account number like that. And then that's it as far as modifications. We've just on the fly determined that our robot needed to be updated, and it's as simple as that. So that is Kofax RPA in the Salesforce sort of use case. Thanks for watching.